Hey crew, just getting ready to set up for our Confluence Collective virtual noob fly tying. I'm taking over United Women on the Fly's Instagram page, and we'll wait for Brown Girl Outdoor World to get on. Hey Bree, yay! I'm doing it. Hey Heather, thank you for letting me take over, trusting me to do this. All right, Bree, let's see if this works. All right. So it's waiting for you. Yay!
Hi.
Hi, friend. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Yay! It works.
Yes, but now I just realized that because of how the video shifted, now my vise is out of scope.
Ditto. I'm gonna have to fudge around with that too. Okay. Maybe. There we go. Cuts off my face, but you know, whatevs.
Are we in great position here?
I think we're good. How close up can we get?
I don't know. I'm gonna try to see how much closer I can get it.
Okay. I'll just back up if I need to talk with somebody's face.
Okay. Hey.
Hey, Carol.
Okay, so now let me see if I got this. Do I have it right?
This is the worst part of it all.
Hey, Amber. Amber is my really good friend. She is also American, but has moved over to Canada.
Oh.
Yeah.
Smart.
Smart girl, right?
Yes. Some days very smart.
Oh. So how are you?
Good. I'm good. It's Friday, done with the work week, so.
What's a Friday again? What are those?
Are you working? Oh, I'm still doing the 9 to 5, 5 days a week gig, man. It's not 9 to 5, but.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm an essential employee.
Oh, apparently we've been deemed essential as well. I don't know how you deem a law firm as an essential service, but we've been deemed essential, but essentially working from home, so.
Oh, see, yeah, I'm still going to the hospital. A couple of my coworkers are working from home, but I'm still going in.
Okay. I'm trying not to let the vise go up my nostril or something. It's not a very comfortable position for a vise. No,
I'm not quite sure. Yeah. All right. So you're the pro with this. You let me know when we need to get going. And
Instagram gives us an hour before they cut us off.
Okay, so we should probably get going, is what I'm hearing.
We can get started, but I need to get my
You're not ready?
Sorry, I'm here. I'm ready. I'm so ready, but I need help. I need serious help.
Okay.
I need someone to tell me which beer to have during our live feed.
Oh, so what have you got there?
So I have a pale ale. It's called All Day Cruiser.
Okay.
It's a pale ale.
I'm not an IPA girl.
And then, don't worry, I got you. It's called Good Time IPA. So we're gonna have a good time then, right?
I think that'll work.
Okay, so we're gonna have a good time while we tie.
I totally forgot to grab a beverage, so this could be entertaining.
Yeah, it'll be entertaining on my side. Don't worry, I'll provide all the comedy just for you.
Perfect. Good. Alrighty, so I am Liz, or Elizabeth. I am living in Spokane, Washington here, which is the east side of Washington. We're about 4-ish hours east of Seattle, about, I don't know, a couple hours south of the Canadian border. Can go about an hour and a half east further and hit Montana. And I'm taking over Heather Hodson's United Women on the Fly Instagram account tonight to teach Miss Miesha here up in Toronto how to tie a rainbow warrior. So
super excited.
I am. I think this will be great. You'll be good.
Yeah, this is a redemption session for me coming from last week, and me being introduced to a dubbing loop, the first real fly I tied. I actually cried when I went.
I would have cried too.
Yeah.
Yes. Dubbing loops are painful.
It's become a good meme though, so you know.
This is true. I agree with that. It has.
I'm just trying to show you guys, this is what my fly with my dubbing loop ended up looking like, okay? If this is how 2020 started like this, great tail.
Mm-hmm.
Like this.
Great tail. There was great tail at the beginning of 2020.
Amber says it looks like the Grinch. It totally does. Okay, so.
All right. Hey, you ready, Freddie?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we're gonna tie a rainbow warrior, which is a type of nymph. So it's a subsurface fly, and we're gonna tie it on a. Hopefully, everybody has the materials. And so on a scud hook, which is kind of a curved shank hook. I can get the bead off. So it looks like this. Just a little curved shank hook. Supposed to represent kind of, you know, a critter in the water with some motion to it. Yep, you got it. And then, so the first thing that you want to do whenever you're tying a fly is to crimp this barb. Because the worst thing is to do is to tie your fly, take all that time and money and energy tying a fly, and then you crimp the barb and the whole hook snaps. So I just have some nice flat bladed pliers, and then I just go in, let's see, how is that going to work? And just crimp that barb down. So if you don't have pliers or forceps, you can always use your vise. You can just open the teeth of your vise, slide that hook in, and kind of crimp that barb down with the vise as well.
So I tend to just, I purchase barbless hooks just because most of the rivers here in Ontario are, excuse me, you can only fish barbless. And I just find like I practice mostly catch and release. So for me, it's just it's less painful for me. It's less painful for the fish. So I just buy barbless and call it a day.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's, you know, some of the manufacturers are making more barbless now, which is really nice that you don't even have to worry about that for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So once you've got your hook, your barb crimped, then hopefully you have a bead to go along. So hooks and beads kind of go hand in hand. There's sizes of beads that correlate with the appropriate size hook. If you have too big of a bead, it's going to overpower your hook and it's going to drop your fly too fast. And it won't have kind of some natural motion in the water. If you have too small of a bead, your fly is not going to get down into the water and to the stream like it should and kind of float where that natural food source is for the fish. Okay. So there's lots of places. I just literally Googled, you know, fly or bead and hook equivalent, and there's some nice charts. So you can have kind of a range of sizes. Okay. I am going to tie on a size 10 hook just so that it's easier to see. Usually I would tie this fly on 14s to 20s, but a 20 is pretty small and I'm not that skilled. So I'm going to tie on a 10. I think, what size hook do you have?
I think I have a 14. Sabrina Babe Gani says so much less trauma for the fish and quicker return to the water, which I definitely agree with. Less time out of the water, get healthier fish, keep the fisheries healthy, and we keep it going, right?
Keep them wet, absolutely.
So I have a size 14 hook. I think, I'm not sure of my bead size, but whatever, it'll fish, right?
It'll fish, absolutely. So I have a 10 hook, and then I think I have a 5/32 speed. So I've got a big fatty bead to go along with this hook. Okay. If you look at your bead, there is a bigger hole and a little hole. The little hole is the one that you want to slide the hook into. The bigger hole is going to be where we can shove all our materials and hide all our materials when we're tying our fly. So there's all sorts of fancy ways. Just don't stab yourself with your hook when you're trying to put your hook, the bead on the hook. Doing this is really fun. Oh, I have stabbed myself many a times. They're sharp suckers. Yeah. All right, so once you've got that bead on, place it in your vise. One of the things too that I try and pay attention to when I'm tying flies, or especially if you're beginning flies, is the point of the hook sticking out. You can kind of see there, the point of the hook sticking out of your vise. That is a really easy way to snap your tying thread and just shred it and always having it snap and break, snap and break. So if you can, just kind of put that hook slightly back into your vise so that that hook point isn't there. It's just going to save you a lot of hassle.
It's smooth.
All right, you got it.
Right on the tip.
Oh, sister, that's too early to start that.
Okay, so it's
all right. So you've got, yep, slide your meat up to the front. So we have red thread. This is hopefully you guys all got your instructions and the recipe, the ingredients. So we're going to use red thread for this guy. It can also be tied in orange, so if you don't have red, orange will work as well. I am using a Danville's 210 denier in red. This is kind of a thicker thread. It's a little bit slipperier. You can tie in kind of, what else have I got? There's a uni thread, which is kind of more your classic polyester thread. What did you end up getting, my dear?
I got a uni thread, 200, I think it is, which I already slipped onto the bobbin, I think.
Perfect.
And
yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
I tried another thread just to prep myself, and that one kept on breaking, so I figure I'll just keep on using this one.
Okay, that'll work. Go with what you know.
I know nothing.
We'll go with what you pretend you know then. All right, okay. So we're gonna start, make sure your bead is at the front of your hook.
Okay.
And if you're right-handed, which I am, so you always want your vise.
I need to put my thread through the hole.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I didn't show that part. So this is your bobbin. This is the shaft of the bobbin and the legs of your bobbin. And then you're just going to slide your thread. The best way to do it, the easiest way to do it. Some kits have a really cool thing that kind of goes in the end of the bobbin and comes out, and you can put your thread through and slide it back out. I don't have anything fancy like that. So I just take my thread, a little bit of spit, which is always a good thing, in the bobbin.
We're getting some really cool instructions in the comment on how to get it on.
Are we? And then suck it. Yes, Heather. Oh, yeah. I know. Yep. Good. Easy. I know. I should probably mind my P's and Q's, huh, Heather?
Okay.
All right. We have our bobbins threaded. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So if you're a right-handed tire, you're going to want your bobbin in your right hand and your vise on the left-hand side. If you're a left-handed tire, flip that around.
Okay.
So you and I are both right-handed tires. I think I'm seeing what everybody else is seeing, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Okay. So take your thread on the back side of your hook. So this is going to be the side closest to the camera. Okay. And you're going to take your thread, the end of your thread in your left hand and the bobbin in your right hand, and come across your hook at about a 45-degree angle.
Okay.
And then you're just going to take your right hand and start wrapping your thread over the hook and away from you or towards your camera. That is the easiest way. You always want to have that same steady rhythm of always over and away, over and away. And we're going to wrap the shank of the hook down to just past the beginning of the curve.
Okay.
And kind of concentric or overlapping wraps so that we're covering that hook with red thread. And when you get a little bit into it, you can cut off the tag. That's just that extra thread. And then just keep wrapping just to the bend of the hook. Ooh, you don't get caught. Oh man, what did I do? See, even the quasi-professionals mess things up. There we go. Okay. All right, you good?
Yep.
Okay, super. So now we're gonna add in your pheasant tail. Okay. This is gonna constitute the tail of your fly.
Okay.
You got some good pheasant tail?
I have some ringneck pheasant tail. It's comes in, I think, with 2 tails in it.
Perfect. Yeah. Some of the packages have 2. Some of them have 3. This is like an ideal center pheasant tail with these really wonderful little tips at the end on both sides. Some of the feathers have really good stuff on one side, not so good stuff on the other side. You want to get the feather with the good stuff.
I got
you
all
have the feather with the good stuff.
Got all the goods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So take your feather, and you can kind of pull these little strands apart, these little barbules apart. And you want to count about 6 to 8 of them, kind of depending on how big your hook is. Since I've got that big size 10, I'm going to probably go about 8 little strands of feather. And if you notice that all of the feathers want to have like an angle to it, or all the strands want to have an angle to it. So the best way to line all these tips up is to take the strands and pull them perpendicular to the stem of the feather.
Okay, I'll do that. So you said about 6 to 8, right?
Yes. I'm going to do a few more because I have the bigger hook.
I think mine's a little bit uneven at the bottom of at the base of it. So I'm just going to grab some more from the top, a little bit higher up.
Of your feather?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know how it is for you where you are. There's hardly any fly shops like in Toronto because it's such a city spot. So I found this really great shop called not found the shop, but this really great shop called Drift Outfitters. Super cool store owned by these 2 brothers, I think it is. And they were gracious enough to actually not open the store. Everything here is pretty much locked down. So they did a curbside pickup for me because I have no fly tying equipment. So I'm like, I sent them an email and I asked them if they'd be able to supply me the material for tying. And I just wanted to thank them for putting themselves out there and doing that for me.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's tough. All of our indoor activities, all those stores are closed, and yeah, I just placed a little order with our local shop. We've got one really great local fly shop and a couple of more commercial ones. We have an Orvis a couple hours away, or about 30 minutes away over in Idaho, and another shop. But our our Silver Bow boys are right there. They're the greatest. I just did a big old order from them yesterday, and Sean stuck it in the mail. So it's like Christmas in April.
That's awesome. We could all use that little bit of extra happy right now.
Seriously. All right. So tying in the tail. You've got the tips that are the natural tips, and then you have that blunt end that you cut.
Yes.
We are going to tie in. You want to take. We're going to do kind of not the cheater version, but just the easier version of tying in a tail. A lot of times you can just say, okay, I want to tie in just that much tail, and you can put it in there and tie it in, but you have such a small hook, and this is kind of a beginning step. This is just a much easier way to do it. So we're just going to kind of take this chunk of pheasant tail, transfer it to your left hand with your fingers, and then just put your fingers over top of the hook so the hook kind of slides between your left thumb and forefinger.
Okay.
Okay. And we're not going to worry about the length of the tail right now. We'll slide that tail and adjust it.
Okay.
We're going to do something called the pinch wrap. So that's basically, you're going to take your thread, and remember, we're going to keep wrapping over and away from us.
Okay.
So if you don't have a good pattern with that, and you start unwrapping, you start wrapping towards yourself after wrapping away from yourself, you're going to unwrap everything that you just did.
Yeah, no.
So always just develop a really good habit of always wrapping the same direction.
Yes.
So pinch that thread, or pinch that hook with your fingers. You're going to take your thread. I'm going to slide my thread into my fingers so that I feel it. Got a friend walking by. I'm sitting in my living room and I can see outside. Feel the thread between your fingers, and then come back on the back side.
Okay.
And then you're going to do that again. You're going to take your thread up to the fingers, pinch the thread in your fingers, and then wrap it around. So you're going to wrap it twice, and then you're just going to let that bobbin go and let it hang. Okay. And then let your pheasant tail go.
Let it hang, okay.
Yeah, because it should have 2 wraps around, and it should be able to hold that pheasant tail in place. You got it. Nice. So mine is obviously way long. I've got a lot of tail hanging out there. So I'm just going to take the tail,
I just made a mess.
Hold the cut ends,
Okay.
and just slide that pheasant tail till you get the length that you want. You want the tail of this fly to be about half the length of the shank. So if this is the length of my shank right there, about half of that.
Yep. I think that's good.
Yeah, no, it looks great. So then what you're going to do, now that you already have those 2 wraps on, that pheasant tail should be nice and held. It shouldn't wiggle around. And then you're just going to go ahead and wrap that thread, securing that pheasant tail. We're going to wrap back towards the bead, securing that pheasant tail down as we go. Make nice, just connecting, you know, touching wraps, covering that whole shank of the hook with red thread. Yep. Try and keep the thread that's from your bobbin to your hook a little bit shorter. Yeah. If you have a lot of thread, that's a whole big motion, and you're going to lose that tension with your bobbin. Yeah,
I was just about to shorten it as you told me, because I felt it like making such a struggle to get up there, which is.
So you already know. Awesome. And then when you get up there to the top, and you're right behind your bead head there, just take your scissors and snip off that pheasant tail.
So I have a question for you. I've been watching all these YouTube videos, and I've seen all these guys, you know, tying, and then pop with the end of their tail.
Yeah, you can do that. I've done it before where I've just ripped the whole pheasant tail right out that I just tied down. So obviously I didn't do a very good job. It doesn't matter. If you are handy enough to be able to do that, I would kind of like use your fingernail if you're a girl and you've got a fingernail, and be able to just kind of rip it that way. Otherwise, you can just take a pair of scissors. Scissors are a girl's friend. Hey, Lou.
Okay.
All right. Next step is going to be the tinsel, the pearl flashabou tinsel.
Okay.
Nice. Mine doesn't have a label. It's just on a spool. But it's got
the Vivas Pearl 20M.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just that pearl color. It's kind of iridescent. They have different widths. I think mine is like the large width. It just means that I won't need as many wraps to get down the shank of my hook. If you have smaller width, you'll just need to take more wraps.
Okay. Northwest Fly Girl says we're halfway there. Okay.
All right, we're good. So for ease, just take about 4 inches of flash, just because then you won't have to do teeny tiny wraps. Yep, about 4 inches of flash, and cut that off. Okay.
I am glad I chose to do fly tying while I'm quarantined. Can I tell you? So the funny thing is, like, before I started fly fishing, and I say I fly fish with, like, take that with a grain of salt because I suck. I've forever been interested in fly tying ever since I was a kid. And then I used to watch, I was watching, I think it was some Canadian cowboy country farm show somewhere, and they were doing fly tying, and I'm like, dude, how am I not doing this? Then I saw, what is it called? I can't remember that Netflix show where the guy, he's like a killer. He's like supposed to be like a cop, but he's evil, and all he does to calm himself is tie flies.
I don't think I know this one.
It has a name, but I don't remember names. Okay.
I started
Ozark.
fishing like 2 summers ago. Ozark. Oh.
Ozark.
Was it?
Yeah, where he was flying, where he's sitting in the hotel room, and before he goes out and does his dirty deeds, he when he's done, he comes back and he ties flies.
I don't remember that part. I'll have to watch that again then.
You weren't watching.
Apparently not.
Okay, so I have the tinsel.
Right. Tinsel. So your tinsel, we're going to lay it on top of the shank of the hook, and then just sticking slightly over the bead.
Yeah, Nella got it. No, the FBI agent, you're correct.
Oh, no, I haven't seen that. I have not seen that one. The FBI agent on Ozark. I've seen that show, but I don't remember that.
Agent
Apparently
Pike. Exactly.
Thank goodness for the Instagram world, because yeah. All right, so flash over the top of the hook and slightly over the top of your bead, just because this flash is kind of wiggly and squirmy, and it's a little tough to get it trapped with the thread. So if you stick it,
Go ahead.
Turn yours over. So see how your flash has a little bit of a curve to it because it's been, there we go. You can see the curve because it's been on a spool. Turn the flash over so that it's going the same direction as your hook, the same curve as your hook.
Okay, so turn it upside. Okay.
Then you don't have to fight its tendency to want to squiggle around.
A little bit of common sense, right? Not much of that around these parts.
I think we're all losing common sense.
Yeah. Okay.
The Hannibal show tied. What was that? The Hannibal show tied flies with parts of. I don't remember that. I watched that show too, and I don't remember that either.
Is it that it's crazy people who tie flies, or flies make people crazy? Which one is it? Because it seems like there's a combination going on here.
I have never claimed to be anything other than crazy, so it could just. All right, back on task here. Okay, so flashaboo, flash, pearl flash, whatever you want to call it, slightly over the bead.
My flash is misbehaving for some reason.
Well, whip it.
Okay, I'm gonna whip it once. There you go. Okay. Just to hold it.
Yep, perfect. And then just one wrap around. And like mine got all kind of squiggly, I would do 2 wraps around because mine obviously got a little wild.
Okay, there you go.
So 2 wraps of thread.
Yep.
My flash got all wild and crazy, so I'm just going to take my fingers and kind of straighten it out. And then since we've got all this extra sticking out, just like we did with the tail with the pheasant, just slide it back. Slide that flash until it kind of pops right behind the bead.
I think I'll have to cut mine because it's a little bit tight in there, so I'll do that after.
You can't pull on it at all?
No.
Okay. Well, I would cut it now just to get it out of the way.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask you a question. Can I cheat when I'm done and tuck it behind the head?
Yeah, it'll actually kind of slide behind the head once we wrap the flashaboo back up, and then once we get the dubbing on there too. Okay. It's not going to be a big deal. We won't see that at all.
Oh my God, you just gave me shivers when you said dubbing. Trauma.
No, we will embrace the dubbing. We will be one with the dubbing. The dubbing is our friend. Oh, I used to curse dubbing too. I just like dubbing, and then I embraced it, and I became the dubbing, and the dubbing became me, and
we were one.
And we have been one. Absolutely. Okay. All right. So we're going to take our thread and wrap back just like we did the original wrap, wrapping back to where we started our tail, or back to where our tail comes in. Again, kind of nice wraps connected to each other. One of the things that helps too, just to keep a nice smooth profile on your hook, is to just slightly pull that flash with your left hand. Yep, you got it. Just keeping a nice straight, and that'll also keep that flash on top of the hook instead of sliding sideways. Okay. Or any other material. This is the same thing if you're tying in wire, all sorts of stuff.
So I tried today, I went on YouTube, right? And I was like, let me see what I could tie, because I was home and I was bored, because I forgot that today was Easter, actually. It was Good Friday. So I'm like, let me see what I can tie. And I tied something. I'll show it to you after. Okay. Just have a good laugh, okay? And just pretend like it's nothing. Support me and say that is the prettiest little midge that I ever did see.
I am sure it is beautiful. I have no doubt.
Okay. One day I'll get this whole wrapping thing down, and I'll be like so smooth at it, and I'll be like, look what Miesha did.
That's better. That's better.
Okay. You know, I think okay, elbows up, right? Keep that.
Elbows up.
Elbows up. Okay.
Elbows up.
Okay.
Elbows up when you're tying. All right, so now you get to practice that again. We're gonna take this thread and go all the way back to behind the bead. So same thing, just keeping the body smooth. One of the things that really helps keeping your thread is having this, if my hook was straight, if the shaft of my hook, shank of my hook was straight, it's gonna be parallel with the shank of, or the shaft of my bobbin. And that thread is gonna be perpendicular to both.
Okay.
Right?
Elbows
So just
up.
keeping them, and then having your elbow up just keeps that, your ability to keep that bobbin in the right angle. If my elbow's down, it's really hard to do this, and it just feels wonky. But if my elbow's up, then of course my bobbin has to be up.
Okay, so elbows up, and that worked.
Elbows up, elbows up.
It helps with it. It makes the movement feel so much smoother too once you keep your elbows up. Otherwise, I'm kind of struggling. And
then it's just easy to, if that elbow is up, when you're pulling, just pull the thread. Or if you're at the bottom, I'll pull it back up. You know, if you're at the bottom of your wrap, you can just pull the thread and give yourself a little bit more. But if you're down here or up here, it's just a little wonky feeling. Okay. So now we're going to take this flash in our left hand or your right hand, your non-dominant hand. And we're just going to take kind of wraps, consecutive wraps. So going the same way, over and away from the top of your bob or your hook, passing it hand to hand. And mine is pretty wide. So I'm going to do, and everybody should be doing, you want to wrap, what am I trying to say?
So even the overlap?
Yes, overlapping, thank you. So the first wrap, you're going to wrap, and then the next one, you want to overlap that prior wrap by about half.
I think I finally figured out what that bobbin thing is for.
What bobbin things? Oh.
This thing?
Uh-huh. It helps hold out of the way. Yeah.
Good.
There you go. Exactly. Yep. Pull a little bit more thread. There you go.
I'm learning things.
Exactly. That's all right. If that happens, that's what tinsel does. Just let it go and start back again. And just remember wrapping, covering half of the prior wrap of tinsel with the current one that you're using. Okay? And again, tinsel does this all the time. If you let go, it's just going to unfurl. Don't stress. Just start it all over again.
It looks so sexy.
It does. It's all sleek and shiny.
It's like a sexy little midge right here. I hope that sounds correct coming out this way.
What?
Oh no, I'm here talking to myself.
Yourself and everybody else, huh? Yeah.
And all of Instagram, right?
Right, I know.
Okay.
I kind of keep forgetting, and I just start talking, and I realize, oh, there's lots of people listening. All right, when you get to the end, keep the tinsel in your right hand, your dominant hand, and keep it upright. We're not, a lot of times, let me retract. So with your left hand or your non-dominant hand, take your thread, wrap it over and trap the tinsel, and then twice and trap the tinsel. And then when you let go, that tinsel should be there and should be able to just hang out.
To make my thread just a little bit shorter, just because I had it wrapped on the bobbin holder.
Yep. And you're going over and away. Perfect. That's important to remember. Always over and away. Okay, so a lot of times on a lot of flies, you would cut this off at this point in time. But on this fly, we're just going to do it all in one fell swoop. I really like how this one's tied. It makes it a lot easier instead of tying in all these little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
So now we're going to do like we just did originally. We're going to take that tinsel and hold it back towards the tail of the fly.
Okay.
And then you're going to take your thread and start wrapping over top of that tinsel that we just laid down, just like we originally wrapped it down and tied it down. And you're going to wrap about a third of the way down the shank of the hook.
Okay. Are we wrapping that? Yeah, we're wrapping that tinsel, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just wrapping that tinsel down and wrap about a third of the way back the hook. This is going to be where we lay our dubbing down. So this is going to kind of create the thorax.
Okay.
So this is the body of the fly, and then this is going to create the thorax of the fly.
I think that should be good, right?
Yeah, that looks good. I'd maybe go, yeah, Maybe like one more wrap.
Okay. I'll do one for good.
Right.
There you go.
Sounds good. Okay. Now, big breath. We love the dubbing. We love dubbing. We love dubbing.
Dubbing is our friend. We love
dubbing
the
is
dubbing.
our friend.
Dubbing is our friend.
So ideally you have rainbow scud dubbing. I have a hairline dubbing, light shade rainbow scud. Twinsies!
Yes, ma'am.
There's also other stuff. This is a hairline Senyo's fusion dub that's in rainbow. It's just a little bit longer, has a little bit different color to it. Lots of different rainbow colored or rainbow, lots of different brands of rainbow dub. But it just has mixed colors. There's like blue and silver and pink and yellow, all sorts of fun stuff.
That's funny. Erica, who is on as Awkward Angler, she said it sounds like a DJ. So since my traumatizing experience with dubbing last week, everything I've been saying is like, I'm like, I don't like the DJ. I don't like the DJ. I don't like the DJ. Referring to dubbing. Don't like the dubbing.
No, let's rephrase that.
Sorry,
I do like
dubbing.
Dubbing.
Is our friend.
Dubbing is our friend. We like the dub. Love the dub.
Love
the dub.
Love the dub. Love the dub.
Love the dub. Love the dub. That's actually like a heart rhythm. Love dub. Love dub. Love the dub. There you go. All right. Okay, focusing again.
Okay.
This is some, I don't know. I don't know if we can do this again.
We totally should. I think it's absolutely entertaining.
I'm finding it entertaining. I don't know about the rest of the world, but hey.
It's our party. We invited them, okay?
It's true. This is true. Thanks for the reminder. I appreciate that. All right.
Okay.
Dubbing. This is a lot of dubbing. We want to use a very little amount of dubbing. So just pull. I must be a cardiac nurse. How do you know, Heather? So you're just going to pull a teeny little fluff of dubbing out. Less is more. You can always add more dubbing. It's a lot more of a pain in the butt to have to take it back off.
So
and the old, put it back by your hook. Now that looks pretty good. One thing you can kind of test is literally like dropping it in the air. And if it just kind of floats down like a fluffy little feather, that's plenty.
Okay.
So the trick with dubbing, normal, like regular dubbing, not fancy dub loop like Lou was having you do, just normal
dubbing loop?
No dubbing loop. No dubbing loop. Breathe.
For those who don't know, so last week I was tying another fly. I was tying the balanced leech, which requires you to do a dubbing loop. And for a first time, for a noob on the whatever this is, the dubbing. That's not what it's supposed to look like. Okay, guys, that is not it. Okay.
Erase that trauma. This is a brand new. This is a different fly. Let's not bring the trauma into this fly's life.
Okay.
Let's not. Yeah. Just let it go. Let it go. All right. So when you're doing dubbing on your thread, what you want to do is use your thumb and your forefinger, and we're just going to practice first. You want to squish them together. Our thread will be between our fingers, and we're going to squish and we're going to roll our fingers together.
Okay.
To try and get that to get the dubbing on the thread.
Okay.
So when you have your dubbing, you're just going to put it on your thread,
and
then take your thumb and fourth finger and roll. And you can kind of see it's already starting to wrap around the thread. You want to always roll in the same direction, because if I roll like this and then I roll like that, I've just undone everything.
Okay.
Learning is messy. This fly is not. She is a beaut. She is a beaut. Absolutely. Just like her mama. All right. Squish your fingers together. Roll that dubbing on your thread. And sometimes it gets a little wonky. Just keep rolling.
She's
keep
been
squishing.
rolled. I think.
And roll. Nice. Yes, thank you, Heather. Pinch and roll, pinch and roll. Yeah, absolutely. Wax. I love dubbing wax. This is one of my faves. It's like giant and it's going to last me for eternity. With my thread personally, it's a little too slippery. Well, which is why you would use wax. But this got a little too sticky. This, so a lot of times I'm not sure, Dalton Cherry is asking about dubbing wax, and it's basically like, and it's a wax. I think Lou used this last week too.
Did he use wax?
And so if you had wax and you wanted to use dubbing wax, you would just take your wax, take your thread, and just a little slide of the wax on the thread. And that's gonna help your dubbing stick. If you don't have wax, chapstick works in a pinch. Just don't use it on your lips afterwards. Or I think Lou had some really cool, like just patch of wax.
He had like a wax, like a disc.
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah. So I waxed it now, which is gonna absolutely make it stick. Like I can literally just put it on and it'll stick. And again, it depends on, you know, your dubbing. There's always different dubbing. There's artificial dubbing or synthetic dubbing. There's, you know, squirrel, rabbit. Gosh, what else is there?
I can tell you guys how excited I got. So I ended up purchasing 2 different sets of dubbing. So now I have dubbing, which is a rabbit hair, I think, and apparently that's a dry fly because it doesn't absorb as much water or something like that. Look at me. And then there's a synthetic dubbing, which is in the box that I have, that has the stuff that's for your, I don't know, all that. This girl said earwax.
This girl, that's Erica that said earwax. I don't know. Mentioning it, I'm gonna guess that she's probably done it before.
She probably tried it. Okay, so my dubbing is on.
All right, let me get my dubbing on because I'm BSing and not doing my job. All right, so when you got the dubbing on, it creates what's called a dubbing noodle.
Yes.
And that noodle, technically, you can kind of slide it up and down the thread. So we're gonna slide that noodle of dubbing just right to the base of the fly, and then roll your bobbin up.
Okay.
Supplies get low in quarantine. Yes, they do. And then continuing to wrap over and away, we're just going to start wrapping our dubbing in this area that we've just laid down the thread at. Just kind of creating a big fat thorax. And you want a big puffy wad of dubbing, a little bit bigger than your bead. And I've already run out of dubbing, and that's okay. So I'm just going to slide a little thread down and add some more dubbing to it.
I think I have enough dubbing on mine. It's a bit bigger than it's a little bit bigger than the bead.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And if you have too much, you can just get to the end and then just pluck the dubbing off the thread.
Ah.
And you're just going to kind of keep wrapping back and forth with that dubbing. Gosh, apparently I need a lot of dubbing.
Does mine look sufficient, or do I need more dubbing?
A little bit lower. I would maybe a little bit more.
A little bit more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just a skosh more. Maybe like 2 more wraps with that dubbing noodle.
Look at that dub go. Okay.
Yeah, you've got kind of some of those crazy wild legs. We can deal with that in a little bit. We'll clean that up in a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. So bring your thread to just behind the bead again.
Okay.
So it slides in right behind that bead.
Okay.
There you go. And then you're going to take, kind of like we did back in when we tied down or when we secured the flash originally. With your dominant hand, or the hand that you use your bobbin with, you're going to pull that flash over top of that big old wad of dubbing that we just put on there.
Okay.
Towards the bead. And then we're going to take your non-dominant hand with the bobbin and do 1 and 2 wraps of thread over the flash, but right behind that bead. And when you get to it, when you get 2 wraps, just give it a little pull and try and slide that thread kind of right behind that bead.
She's in there.
Nice. And then you can pull the flash back again, and then we're going to do 2 wraps between the bead and the flash, just to secure it down, and then we're going to do it again. 2 wraps, pull the flash forward, do 2 wraps behind the flash, and then we'll snip that puppy off.
So we'll do 2. And then pull it back, and then 2.
You got it.
Okay.
Okay. And then take your scissors and just kind of nice and easy get in there and just snip that flash at the base of the bead. And like this is enough for me to tie another fly. I can easily get another fly out of this.
Mm-hmm.
So save it.
Ooh.
Yes, it will, Jody. All right.
Prettiest
so now,
thing that you ever did see.
It is beautiful. Love it. Okay, so there's a couple of ways to finish the fly. You can whip finish. You can use a fancy straw. But we want to add in a little bit. This fly specifically has what's called a hot spot. And that's just a little bit of red thread or orange thread. It comes in different colors. So various flies are going to have a different colored hot spot. Some of them are hot pink, red, orange, you name it. So we're going to wrap a couple more times with our thread and just build up a little bit of a thread base right here, right behind the bead, between the bead and the flash that we just tied over. So there's a really visible wrapping of red thread.
Okay.
See how you can see that thread a lot more? Let's see if I can turn that. There we go. Yeah.
Mine's a little bit, I think I can see mine. It's just the lighting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you know how to whip finish, have at it, sister.
Erica,
whip finishing is tough to teach.
Erica knows how to whip finish. She's a good whip finisher.
I can whip finish. If you have one of these like torturous looking tools, rock on, do it.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, we'll pass on the whip finisher. I watched like a YouTube of whip finishing for like hours. And then I still, every season when I stop tying flies for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, I'm like, how do I use this again? So I can whip finish on this end, and then I'll show you how to use just a straw chunk if you want. Oh.
Just give me a second here. Give me a second here. Give me a second here.
You got it. Slide that down a little bit. Get a little bit more thread. There you go.
Slide this part off. Slide that part up.
Ah, nice.
Aha.
You got it. So for cheese head for life. Oh, does that mean you are a Packers fan? I don't know. All right. So cheese head for life. I love my loon bobbin. I like the feeling of it. The shaft is really, I never break thread, and I just like the balance of it. I don't know what like this is, what whip finisher it is, just a whip finisher. My scissors, I've got really fancy Dr. Slick. These are awesome scissors. They just have a teeny tiny little point on them. They like don't get used by anything. You know how your mom used to scream at you when you'd use her fabric scissors on like your paper and stuff? Same concept.
I feel like
so,
I want to be a show off and just whip it one more time or whip it real good.
Do it. Whip it. You get it?
Yeah, I'm gonna get it.
Okay.
Boom.
Boom.
Now,
all right.
I whip so good. I whipped my thread right off.
Well, that's all right. You don't have to cut it now. You got it.
It's a total finish.
If you are not skilled like Miesha in the whip finish, you don't have whipping skills, you can use a straw, just like a big old drink straw. This is what I grew up with. This is what I first started. This is like the straw from the first Heather. This is the straw from the October caddis that I tied way back in the day. So if you have a chunk of straw, you're going to take your thread. So this is, oh, it's hard to see. This is the thread pulling back towards myself. You're going to lay the straw on top of the thread, and you're just going to wrap it. Then you're going to take, what's great about the straw is that it fits over the eye of your fly, or the eye of your hook. So you're going to wrap it, and on this one it's even better because we got to go over not only the eye, but also the bead. So you just take the straw, slide it over the bead, and then with your left hand, or your hand with the bobbin, you're just going to slide it off the straw. And then do that a couple of times.
I actually like the straw method. It's so much easier than the whip finisher. But the whip finisher makes me feel like so much of a fly tire that I'm just going to suffer through it and whip finish.
I whip finish. What about you? You use a straw?
Like, my boss is firing me. I'm like, yeah, I have a whip finisher, and what?
And what? Yeah.
I have a whip finisher.
Whip it. So yeah, straw, wrap it around, slide it off a couple of times. There you go. And then just snap that, cut that puppy off. And then you've got kind of some wild and crazies. I've got kind of some wild and crazies. You can kind of see these little, you can give them a little trim. It's all part. It makes it buggy. The fish are going to get some teeth on there and make it buggy anyhow. I
actually like the unkempt look of it when it's a little bit, as you say, buggy.
No, it's not unkempt. Buggy.
Sorry.
Yeah, you can see,
I like the buggy look.
Yeah, that is super buggy.
Like, that's like, like, this is like a rat fly. So
it's awesome. You did great. Okay, now like 10 more of those.
Make 10 more of these?
Yeah. You got to fill that nymph box, lady.
I am. So I remember how I said I went on YouTube today and I wanted to try something because I was like, let me try, because I was bored and I didn't have anything to do.
What did you tie?
I tied a little, I think it's a midge or something of that sort. I don't know what it is, but it looked cute.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to wear it for Halloween. It's orange and black.
Mm-hmm.
With
nice.
I don't know what that is, but it looked cool, so I did it.
Is it like thread? What's on the hook? So thread and wire?
There's thread and wire.
Okay.
And then I mixed 2 different dubbings together at the top. I did orange, and silver dubbing.
You're totally a fly tying nerd if you're already mixing your dubbing together. Yeah, sister, right on.
Oh my God. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. This was a blast.
Love it. Your instructions clear as day, and
thank you.
I feel like I've done so much now.
You're doing great, lady. Keep it up. That is a beautiful fly, and when you land your first fish on that puppy, post that.
Definitely. I'm going to get an extra zoom lens so that you can actually see that that's the rainbow in that fish's mouth. Definitely.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. You always have to keep your first one. Always, and then when the first fish that you land on a fly that you've tied, take that fly off of your line and put it away, because always the next fish that you hook, you're going to snap it off and lose that fly. So always hang on to that first fly that you've tied and landed your first fish on. Okay. That one you can do, maybe, I think, you know what? That would be a really good hairpiece. I like that idea.
It looks like a good earring, actually, if I do this.
Yeah. Can you make another one?
I'm going to. I would hope my skills got a little bit better on the other side, but don't judge. So yeah, it's a midge. Thank you very much. So if you want to go ahead and close out and tell the whole Confluence thank you piece and all that?
Yes, absolutely.
I think it's an awesome thing that they're doing for this whole quarantining, being locked in. Someone said a hatch in.
No, it's been fabulous, and I think, you know, like Bree said, it's hard to just watch videos and the guys or girls are just professionals and they just whip it out. And sometimes, you know, everybody teaches a little bit differently, and you may hear a piece that totally connects with you when everybody else has been saying it in a different way, and it just resonates and it makes it work. So awesome. This is fabulous. This is a great way to make new connections, and thank you so much, Bree, for putting this together, and thank you for connecting with Heather. And Heather, thank you for entrusting me to do a good job using your United Women on the Fly Instagram page, and hope everybody got a good good entertaining evening out of it. And Miesha,
awesome.
Thanks for letting me practice my first IG live skills with you. I appreciate it.
And don't worry, when you see me slide into your DMs and ask you for some fly tying assistance again, I'm not hitting on you. I'm just trying to get some fly ties.
All right.
But no, thank you so much for your help. And
you're welcome.
Confluence has more ties on Mondays and Fridays. Always a noob, always a pro. And again, great initiative. Get on it if you are not on it before. Volunteer and be a pro to teach a noob. That's the only way we're going to keep this going.
Great. It's great. Thank you so much again, Bree. It was fabulous. I had a blast. Thanks everybody for showing up and watching. And follow Confluence Collective.
Confluence Collective
on Instagram. And let's see what adventures you get into, and United Women on the Fly. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Jody, good night.
Bye.
Bye, guys.